You all have been married for how long?
52 years, going on 53.
Have you all ever been to a therapist, seek professional help for your marriage?
No, because we do our own therapy.
You do your own therapy.
Yeah.
But is it possible that you could be in a marriage, or someone could be in a marriage where they've reached a place, the marriage isn't going good, and they need professional help? That is the question that we're hoping that we could answer today.
Right.
And this gentleman next to you,
My husband.
unfortunately, he has done a lot of research into answering that question if a couple needs therapy. So I'm hoping at the end of the conversation, the scales the scales would fall off your eyes. All right.
Okay.
So, Mr. Batiste, this is Mr. Lance Batiste, and this is Mrs. Louise Batiste. And Mr. Lance is going to talk about some points that would help us answer this question.
Yes, thank you very much. Just to recap your question, have we ever been to therapy? Louise and I have never had therapy about marriage because we went into marriage knowing that it was a commitment, there was love overriding all things. And we just went into marriage and took our responsibilities as they came. And Louise has been pivotal in our future home and in our children, and we took our responsibilities as educating our children and having to spend long hours, but also entertaining ourselves on weekends by maybe going to the beach, visiting her relatives in way down south side. So marriage for us was a therapy in itself, a positive in itself, But I have been looking at couples lately and feeling that there are a lot of issues that impinge on their marriage. They kind of feel suffocated in the lack of freedom that they have in the marriage, and they're swamped by their responsibilities, they're swamped by the hardships of financial issues, and they also have what they call workplace
Pressures.
Workplace pressures. So that there are a lot of events and a lot of issues happening in people's lives, and therefore marriage is threatened. Marriage is not even seen these days as harmonious and something to work at. If people want to shack up now, they will do it, and they always have in the back of their mind, well, this doesn't have to last forever, I don't have to take things.
I can always walk away.
I can walk away. But they go through the same sense of responsibility, the same playground of issues, and they need to come to that term. But
not cutting you across, Lancy. There is something that I feel concerned about. Couples shacking up.
Okay.
No, it is not a bad idea to be broad-minded. It's not what I would recommend. But it is not a bad idea for people to really get to know each other. Because in courtship, you don't know each other. Because everybody at their best performance. It is about good times. We're going to the movies. We're going to Tobago for the weekend. We're going to Toko for the weekend. We're going to the Hyatt for the night. And it's about everybody is at their best behavior because everybody enjoying the pleasures that there is in courtship. Mm-hmm. But when the real responsibility comes in a marriage, in a matter of a month, people could tell you, I knew I made a mistake. I was surprised to hear couples say that. I knew I made a mistake 1 week after I got married. What? That means you never knew your partner. And, okay, so I'm thinking outside of the box now, that if somebody live together, you will soon find out the faults. Because now we playing dolly house. This is the real life. There's no dolly house playing here. There's no courtship. We have to pay rent, we have to buy food, we have to, all the responsibilities that will be in a marriage. If you're living together, you might as well say your husband and wife. because you got to get up and cook the food because we don't have no money today to buy lunch. So we get up in the morning before we go to work, or we're going to cook this evening. So everybody's seeing each other in the role of marriage without being married. But the flip side of that, how many shack-up relationships you will have before you find the real person?
Precisely. That is the big question
So
now.
it's not good for your moral.
Yes, and it's not good sociable either for you, because you're changing hands if that comes to it.
Yeah, for
And
a
how often
woman.
you're going to change hands?
For a woman,
The reputation.
It's
And
not
every time you
good.
change hands, you lose 10% of your value. Eh?
Of course.
You
Because
depreciate
it's
it.
depreciated.
Okay, but to keep this in line with
Who is this?
the... Hey, what's up?
Lisa?
I'll... Yeah, that sounds possible. Yeah?
Yeah, that's fine, yes.
I didn't hear what she said.
By you?
Okay.
Okay, darling, thank you.
Yeah, to keep this in line with this idea of determining if
Thank
you
you,
need
babe.
a
Okay,
therapist,
sweetheart.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking and thinking about it with therapy in the marriage at some point where maybe things have already declined.
Yeah.
You use an example there where the person making a decision to shack up before, as
Yeah.
we see, and then a month into it they realize, oh gosh, I bounce my head, or I get married, and there's a choice
So
that I shouldn't
just
have
walk
made.
away.
So is there a place, doesn't keep with the topic of the conversation,
Right.
is there a place for therapy even before, or you want to stick to, you're in your marriage, will it take you a month to realize some things, and how do you know if you need therapy, or should you even consider therapy?
Right.
Well,
It'll
you-
be 10 years into the marriage already.
But he's made a very salient point here. You probably will need therapy even before marriage, because there are incidents that will show that there's a difficulty between the partners, and
Yeah.
if we try to iron it out, and it gets a little nasty, but yet you persist in the relationship, you should consider therapy.
Yeah. Before I got married, without calling any names,
Uh-huh.
before I got married, I went for therapy sessions with the young lady that I would eventually marry, and the therapist advised her that she shouldn't marry me, but I was able to convince her otherwise. So let's hear about your points that you're talking about. So I believe, yes, there is a place for
There's a place, yes.
there is a place for therapy even before marriage, because that's in terms of how you perceive things and the age you might be when you perceive these things a particular way. Go ahead,
Right.
sir.
But it says that marriage therapy does not always reduce the deadlock. That's one thing that we have to remember, You're not going for therapy that it will be the answer. It is just a guide to get you out of some quicksand.
Yeah.
Marriage quicksand, right? But you have to be very open. If you go for therapy, you have to be
need help. You must
open-minded about it. You have
must
to
be willing
recognize,
for help.
hey, we need help. We love each other. Something isn't right,
Mm-hmm.
but we need help.
Yeah.
So you go to somebody reputable, right? Now, in marriage also, you have what you call victims and you have what you call villains. And sometimes they say that the victimizers usually claim they are victims.
Yes.
Well, that's a hard spot, eh? Imagine you have a tendency, an attitude where you are going to be,
Victimizing.
I am being victimized. But at the same time, you swing the whole playfield around and you become a victimizer. Right?
Therapy can't help that,
Well, we can try. But what they say in the long run, excuse me,
Sorry, I laugh at what serious business here.
what they say sometimes is that when victimizers claim to be the victims, they are subtly pushing for a marital separation or a divorce. And that's a peculiar thing, eh?
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
That's part of the agenda.
Right.
They're pushing for a
Settlement.
settlement, a separation, a settlement, a divorce. That's the bottom line, right? That's the bottom line. So
I guess it's harder to come out and say I just want a divorce, or I just want to go separate ways.
Yeah. So yeah.
Because who takes responsibility at that point in terms of I have initiated, I didn't want this. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
no, that's fine. I enjoy your input in it, right? Now there's the next thought that victims, how does a victim react? What causes somebody to be a victim? Usually the victim, he submits or she submits and accept defeat. And then when this happens, the person who is the villain recognizes the weakness, and it's like you're triggering more violence, more aggression, right? More. Usually they say too that a villain is just a victim who has gained influence. In a relationship like this, the villain will attack when triggered. It doesn't take much. It
To
doesn't
lash
take
out.
much. The villain will attack when triggered.
So to connect those 2 points, what you're saying is that when you concede, when you take the what some people might consider the humble part, you humble up and you take your blues, you're empowering them to continue their barrage,
Yeah, that's right.
and if triggered, to even push further with it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Bad
You
situation.
end up living
eh?
in a nightmare, boy.
Bad situation.
Yeah, you do end up living in a nightmare. But it takes a lot
And
of
that victim will never, ever be able to move from that spot if they don't get professional help.
You see, the thing about it is, boy, sometimes a victim really loves the villain,
Yeah.
and you want to save your marriage. You really want to save your marriage. The victim loves the villain. It wasn't a villain that he married in the beginning, right? There was love in the relationship. And let us assume that Louise becomes a villain. Let's put it this way. Let's really put it this way. Louise now becomes a villain. But
Just so.
No. Let us say something
Like
biological.
Alzheimer's or something.
Some kind of reaction, and you have become you're on what's the word? You're unblameable in this situation, right? You can't help yourself. Good? And you become a villain. But I don't want to leave you because I love you. I think of all the good things you've done for me. I think of all the hardships when things were like a crisis point. You were there, you were supporting me, you were helping me along, you helped me children along. My love for her, assuming it wasn't even a biological defect, right? But it was just something happened.
Yeah.
Maybe I made a mistake somewhere, and in an unforgiving streak, she turns villain,
Right.
That happens.
right?
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
She turns a villain,
Yeah.
but I love her, and I'm prepared to take the blows because I love her.
And it's your fault.
Here's the scary part. What if Louise is already a villain? What if she has been a villain for the past 53 years? But you're so enamored with the person, so to say, that you don't even recognize what a villain. You don't even have lens that will help you see, hey, is a villain that I married to.
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Excuse me, look at me.
No. It could happen. It could happen to anybody listening to this.
Yes. Because of my love,
Yeah.
I have been
Then
blind.
I say love is blind.
Yes, I'm blinded
You know what
to
you should.
strategies that she has employed subtly and nicely, and therefore I am abused without recognizing it. But because I love her so much, I roll over, so to speak. I roll over.
But that's tough, man.
Well, here's what, right? I need to go, but I would like you all to really continue the discussion along the lines of, maybe whether it is identifying the villain. Maybe that could be another episode you all have. I think things
Yeah.
to
How do
look
you
out for.
identify a villain?
Yeah, after 53 years of marriage. And, and whether you really need help to, because I guess the person who's listening to this some of them may be in a situation where you're just kind of curious as to, well, I feel trapped. The walls have been built tall around me in terms of I'm in a pit almost like, and what do I do to really come out of it? Because my closing thought is this: life is so beautiful, boy. When you wake up and you realize that you have been blessed with another day, and you look outside and you see this scenery, regardless of your financial position. I mean, of course, if you have access to certain things, you get to enjoy maybe a bit more than, whatever. But the idea being that we have so
Having
much
health.
that we could have access to,
Yeah,
and you're
particularly
trapped in a
health.
situation where you're not even seeing that.
Oh gosh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very horrible.
I was hoping you didn't identify me, but I'll go.
Oh gee whiz, sorry.
Everybody know your voice, boy.
Oh gosh.
No. Go ahead. You're going good.
Yes.
You took us to a good pitch.
Right. Good on.
Thank you.
Safe journey home.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Luis, okay.
Do you need therapy?
Do you think we need therapy? No, we don't need therapy.
Maybe, it's a really interesting experiment that they could do. Or they should go for it.
For therapy?
Yeah, and see if, because you regard yourself as being the next thing of the divorce, yes?
Okay, so
No, boy.
So we have been
They say, a therapist told me,
We went to therapy as a happy couple.
right.
thank you.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, the next one.
Lancy, a therapist told me that if you have mature on emotional chats and reason things out, you don't need a psychiatrist,
Oh,
So,
or
you know,
psychologist.
a psychologist, because what causes problems most of all in marriage is, well, I have never been to a therapist for marriage, but I have been to a therapist for grief,
Okay.
crying at funerals and can't identify why I am so emotional. And when they had a seminar at work, when a lot of employees died and people were taking the death very badly, I realized that I am a victim of loss.
Right.
And that's when I went to talk about it, and only to discover that I had never grieved for my mother who died when I was 11 years.
Right.
So every funeral I attended, it was bringing her back to memory when I was at her funeral,
Okay.
right? And it was a matter of a one and done talk, and I was fine. I could go to funerals and not be weeping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even my own sister died after that, and I really coped well at the funeral and was strong for the others. So, but he said, when people have to go to a therapist is when they have nobody they can confide in. He says, if you have people you could confide in and you can be free and open and honest with what is happening, that person could help you because you are open and you want help and you're willing to talk about it and you're willing to talk to somebody who could really give you good counseling. And I believe that because there are lots of times if I am not happy about a situation, I can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
And when I talk to you about it, you became my therapist.
I'm happy to be at your service.
Yeah, free service to be
Free service.
and you feel better immediately that you have spoken about it. So that's why I always say in marriage you need communication. No matter how bad it is and how hard it is to talk about something that is affecting you, you have to be able to sit down together and reason things out. And you may just discover that something that was such, in your mind, was such a big and hard issue, by talking with your partner, you realize whatever that was taking place was innocently being done, not knowing that you were affecting your partner. And you reach out and you compromise.
Right.
So I will say, if there is communication in a marriage, you don't need counseling.
You see,
Unless you have a really bad issue on your hand
But you know, things build up.
over the years.
Not even over the years, over the days, for instance. A couple just newly married. The
Okay.
wife is sensitive about something, right? She has a sensitive streak. The husband recognizes, but he is, let us say, or she is rather, she is.
You just pull away from each other.
And something is said in jest, but it is taken such, seriously.
Yeah.
And now I would like to tell her or him that I'm sorry, really, I touched a nerve really, right?
Yeah.
And the person refuses to accept the apology. Now what happens? You know,
Well-
it goes on to tomorrow and the day after,
Right.
and then there is a okay,
Resentment.
darling, yeah. And you, to get away from it all, I have to maybe buy roses, take you to dinner, force you into going to dinner, and then we start all over again until the next unexpected outburst of silence, an outburst of silence, right? Not communicating with you, not willing to discuss things. And
But I will tell you the truth. Some people take small things and make issues,
yeah, they do.
and that is a serious problem. A little thing that you could have let fall, you turn it into a big issue.
You think that has been the person's hidden personality all along?
Well,
That wasn't recognized in the beginning, in the courtship years, maybe?
well, that's why I say if people are pretending in a courtship, then you would know.
Okay, okay.
You see, and that's where pretending to be who you're not
Mm.
is not. It is a real unfair situation to marry someone who presented themselves
A pretentious affair.
to be different,
Okay.
and then you get married only to discover, hello, is that you?
Yeah.
I don't know you. Where did you come from? You know, so that is serious. But I'm talking about people are in love and they have little minor differences. Don't turn it into an issue. Just deal with it. Just talk about it. Just clear the air. Don't swell up your face. Turn your back in the night. You don't want to even say good night. No, that is not good for a relationship.
You know, just
It
getting
is
back,
not
just
good
getting
for
back a little
relationship.
bit to this matter of a victim. This little research that I've done, it says that victims blame others for their circumstances.
All the time.
They blame others for the circumstances.
Because a victim is never wrong. I always get in the raw deal. I am the one hurting. I am the one who suffering at your sarcasm. I am the one who treated badly. I am the one who no consideration I receive from you. But so you're making yourself into a victim more than you really are.
Right. They always feel like they're being attacked.
Yes.
If you start to talk to a victim, the victim will feel
You're criticizing me.
you're criticizing,
Yes.
right? But you know that action of being a victim who feels that they must hide and you can't talk to them, that is a form of villainy in itself, you know.
Of course.
It turns around.
So
the
you could be
relationship
both a victim and a villain at
at the
the
same
same
time.
time. At the same time.
Yeah.
Well, then you really need therapist
Yeah, but you know,
because you're too complicated
but to
and complex.
going into therapy, it is, you have to understand that it will take more than one session to really iron out a serious
Of course,
issue,
because there are childhood issues in people too.
And you need to be honest that I need help, and if you get there,
Yeah.
you need to understand that a lot of things are going to be laid on the table, And they're going to say, you see this plate full? This is you. And you have to be willing to accept that all of this is me.
Trash is me. All
Well,
it is trash.
let us be kind still. All of this on this plate is mine.
Yeah.
Right? It comes from me. I have to accept it. So, what we would advise to really close this session, if you're having difficulty in your marriage and you're feeling that you're losing the love that you had in the beginning,
It's not too late.
it's not late. Marriage therapy is advisable. But going into it with an open mind is
That's the
important.
next thing. If you think it's the other person's fault, everything 100% fault belong to you. I'm not owning up to 50-50. You're not going to get help because
Yeah.
you are not seeing who you really are. Because it takes two to make a marriage, and it takes two to break a marriage.
Anyway, Louise, I'll tell you what. As our guide said a while ago, it is wonderful to look up and see the beauty of God's handiwork. Eh?
Of course, there's so much to be thankful for. I mean, I know people have it rough,
Yeah.
but it's really how you see things, you know. Negativity is something could blind you to everything that is beautiful presented by God, you know.
Yes,
If
yes,
you're
yes.
negative, you only see negative in every situation. There's no blessing? No, come on. Every cloud have a silver lining.
Louise, I feel that from here I could just focus a little bit there.
On my work that I did this morning.
Yes. You see, Louise is a happy girl, huh? And that is what has made our marriage very useful. Louise went out there in that hot sun and she began to clean up her garden,
Rock garden.
her rock garden. She divided the garden and now she has a path in it that she could operate on either side, which is great because stepping into that area was a little difficult. So Louise, I must compliment you. Let me see your face there. You filled the screen, girl. So Lyndon suggests, really, again I use his name openly, that we visit a therapist. Happy people visiting a marriage therapist. A marriage therapist. I wonder how that will go.
We might have him on the couch instead.
You
We
think?
might have him on the couch telling him how he should do things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Especially if he's having problems. Eh?
You never know.
Okay, friends.
Okay, greetings to all you wonderful people,
Mm-hmm.
and take care and wake up and see the handiwork of God
In
They're
your own life.
beautiful.
Too, eh? In your own life.
in your own life. And you know, one thing I remember the psychologist said was that we have to be the one to change. A situation doesn't change, but the change is with us. If something affects us, we have to learn to not to be affected by things that wouldn't change. So the change is anew.
Yeah. Very
Yeah, man.
nice, very nice. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're going to take a look at the garden?
Yes, man, and you see the exoras, how well they're looking too.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to know they started to bloom.
Right.
You know, usually people see on that side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But come a little closer, man. Look at the exoras
Oh, yes.
and the little treatment you're giving the
Mm-hmm.
for that white fungus.
Yes. Very nice.
And of course,
Okay, here's the garden.
yes,
So you
We
see,
have
Louise's big
someone-
work here?
yes,
Yeah.
man. So I have my little path there, and I want to get some white stones, and because before it was the entire circle was that way, but it was very difficult to get in to clean out the weeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, weeds will grow anywhere.
Of course.
So So
Yeah.
this is the handiwork for the morning. I thought that someone came and painted the fence,
Yes.
and it looked so beautiful that the garden needed a little touching up.
Mm-hmm.
Lancy is usually the man who paints and do stuff around, but with his eye and his surgery, although this morning he got up and painted all the wrought iron in the living room. He said he liked to do his own work. But I was just thinking about not stressing him out, knowing he's going to be doing
Thank you, thank
his
you, thank you.
surgery next Thursday.
Who could call you a villain, Gail? Who could call you
So
a villain?
I thought, Lancy, let's get somebody come and do some work.
Very nice, very nice.
So,
Yes.
but Lancy has been a good painter over the years and doing all the painting around here.
Yes.
So he
yeah.
didn't like the idea of being displaced.
Yeah. Thank you, Louise. Thank
But
you.
I had to be a villain this time.
Uh,
I had to be a villain this time and said, Lance, I am getting someone to come and paint the fence to save you.
thank you very much, darling. Appreciate very much. Okay, Louise. Over and out.
Bye-bye. You see?
Over and out, Louis.
Okay, my dear. Bye-bye.